Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 104 of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Okay, as you may have seen, I have a new title page and I would like to tell you about it. One of the friends in my knitting group here in Seattle is an artist. So she probably knits less than us, but she also does really cool art all the time. She does like art show stuff and she creates a lot of like multimedia type art, but she also does some design work and things for people and friends and whatever. And she did our Pacific Knit West logo type thing. Just in case you forget what that looks like or you didn't watch that episode, we have our own little logo, which is so cute, that just says Pacific Knit West, and the designs on there are Emily's, who is our only designer friend who is in the group. And that's in 2 colors, and she watercolored that too. And then she got this, and we got like these die cut stickers. Okay, very cool. Around the same time or just after we were talking about that logo of last year, I also said, oh, like, I don't have a real logo. Like, I just made this like little thing on Canva, and I was like, I would love to have something that felt more like me and what this podcast has become. And so she said that she would design me something, and she did. And that is what was showing on the title screen. But in case you missed it or don't remember what it looks like, I'll show you. And I got little stickers made. And these little die cut stickers. So this is like, sorry, this is cinematic. So it's gonna, there we go. So you can see it is, stay focused, phone. Yeah, it is just my name, A Naughty Mess. It is a ball of yarn and a book, some knitting needles on the bottom, a castle. And the castle is just like, this is from the pages because I mostly read fantasy. I mean, like, it's fantasy and romance around here only. I think my true love is romantasy, the middle of those two. Yeah, and so we talked about like types of books. I mean, obviously she's in my book club. It's just me, her, and Katie for our book club that we have. But you know, we often give each other book recommendations, and so I think this is like, I didn't really give her anything else. I just like told her, you know, I talk a lot about books, and she knows what happens on the podcast. So she designed this for me several months ago, and then this was I talked to her like 2 weeks ago, and she was like, I will get you this because I did want to have some stickers made for Flock. So I got a bunch of these stickers made. So if you see me at Flock, please let me know you want a sticker and I will give you one. Just for spreading the word and also love, and also everybody who loves to like read and knit. It's just such a good cross section of people. So this is my new logo. So I'm gonna put this on stuff. I'll probably put it on Instagram later today. I've not posted in forever. So, but get my life together and do some of that. And so I've got a nice little bag of these to hand out to friends at Flock, and so this was made by Jess. So Jess is the best. Also, I shared her store a while back, but I'll share it again on Threadless. She has a store of just like other random arts that you can get printed on stuff, and she has some really fun stuff. So if you want to support her, you can do that. This is not going to be available on there, but if you're interested in any kind of swag, let me know, and she can build you know, part like things into her Threadless shop. Like, it's not going to be anything to me. She's the artist, so she'll get all the like credit and whatever. I don't know, she gets like 5% of the sales or whatever. But yeah, if you're interested, let me know. Let's get started with our regular content. As you maybe have noticed, I'm wearing a newly finished object today. And for anyone who's new here, wow, sorry, hi, that was a weird way to start the episode, but that's a very exciting new thing happening. My name is Megan. I am a knitter. I also crochet and I spin yarn, and on Sundays I cross stitch. I live in the Pacific Northwest with my husband Mike, our daughter Theo, our dog Winter, and my mom Cindy, and we are here to talk about all the yarny goodness out in the world. I generally talk about what I have finished recently. This one is just finished this week. What I'm wearing, if it's just something that's different, what I'm working on, what I've newly cast on, plans I have. I often talk about plans. Plans do not always come to fruition, but eventually they usually do. I don't often totally scrap a plan, but it happens. And things I've been spinning and books I've read, hence the cross section of those two in my logo. And yeah, this week we've got some really fun things to talk about, and I'm gonna probably talk a tiny bit more about flock planning that I have now that the map is released. Okay, let's get right into it. I am going to stand up as I do usually to show you this first, and then we'll talk about some of the details. I am wearing a cardigan that is not knit by me. I feel like having a solid color shirt like this, like I could wear anything I want over top of it. I am wearing this to work today, so I decided I was just gonna go with something that, you know, is a little less loud as an option, but I will show you like one arm out in a second. So here is, that's my pants. Here is my belly button. Okay, this is a weird thing to start with, but that's what I'm gonna tell you, is that I did lengthen this a bit, maybe like 1.5 inches. I will tell you measurements in a second. I don't remember what the pattern is exactly because of the way that you build this, but we'll go over that also. So yeah, so I added, I think like 1.5 inches, which means it would have been more cropped in the front. And I think that there is a version where you don't do these back additional short rows, which I'll show you. But yeah, so off the shoulders, like I think it fits really nicely, like covers my bra just fine without, you know, a lot of fussing or whatever, though you could easily use a little bit of tape or something to just keep it. There is no finishing, so there's no go back and do I-cords. It's all just how you do your decreases, and so I actually think it sits pretty nice knowing that. I think structurally, like a real applied I-cord sometimes feels a little bit like tighter, and so I don't know. I don't know if it feels more like sturdy, but like this definitely is rolling a little bit, but I think that would happen if you hadn't applied I-cord edge too. I don't really have any tank tops that do. The one thing that is a little bit weird is there's no finishing here on the underarm. So it just is. And I mean, that's fine. I think it's in the one part. I'm not like throwing my arm up in the air a lot. So it's fine. I think the color is really nice. I like the feel a lot of this linen sock from Explore Knits and Fibers. It's 80% merino and it's 20% linen. So it's got a lot of linen content, and if I get a little bit closer, you can see that like it's quite heathery looking, but it doesn't feel pokey. And I know linen, once you wash it, really doesn't generally feel pokey. But for 20%, like that's a pretty good percentage. And I think it's very comfy. Okay, let me take one arm out. Okay, so if you can see here, like that's how it sits like all around my armhole. It is a little bit high. I will say I did that additional like full inch, 1/2 inch on both the front and the back, so that it would not sit too high up. And I think it really would have been a little bit too high if like in my armpit if I didn't do that. So this sits like right at my bra line, which is perfect and comfortable for me. If you'll remember, I said this sits on the back, so this is where the seam is. It's pretty hard to see, but that seam is like right here, so it goes past like the top of your shoulder. That's like the intention, and she puts that in the pattern. And then let's just look here. I'm gonna do something weird because I don't feel like taking this cardigan all the way off. This is my side, so like it does, like it's very clearly a high-low. It's not too low, but I think that sits like in a really nice place if I was just wearing this, you know, without a sweater. That sits in a nice place in the back, and it like gives you a little bit extra coverage, and it just like it's kind of like a flirty little element to this. So overall, I think that's fine. Oh, I didn't show you this though, like because I don't think I was done the back last week. Is that the back is a matching V. It's the same dimensions as this one. It's pretty much the same everything. It's just that you do less afterwards and it sits higher up. So that's it. This is the story for this tank top. Let me sit down so we can go over more details. Okay, so it's very cute, and I didn't really say this, but as I was wearing it, you can see that it's like drapey kind of at the bottom, though it does have negative ease on me at the top as intended. Okay, the actual instructions call for 2 to 4 inches of negative ease. I decided to make a size 40 because I wanted a little bit more negative ease. I wanted it to fit nicely here, and I think it's perfect. It's a really nice fit here. I was thinking possibly I would do a little bit of like vertical bust darts just to give myself a little bit more room right here, but as I did some gauge swatching, I was a little bit off gauge in the smallest needle size, and so I ended up with 41 and a half inch bust, which I'm a 46 inch bust most days, so that is close to the 4 inches. So like I was like, I'm not gonna, you know, like I don't think I'm gonna need much more, and I think it's fine. It's not like pulling a ton or whatever. And I wore like a different color. This is a light color bra I'm wearing under here, but I wore like a darker color bra the other day when I tried it on, and I still thought it wasn't like, it didn't make it look particularly see-through. Construction of this really quick before we go into measurements is that you start at the bottom, so it's bottom up. You cast on for your hem, you fold your hem if you're going to do it that way, otherwise you just keep knitting. Mark where you want your hem to be though, and then you do short rows if you so select. I would maybe make this again without short rows because I like that element, but I think it's fine without it. But you're using your largest needle size then, so I think you start with a size 4 millimeter, and then you size down to a 3.5 for a short amount of time, and then a 3.25 for the rest, for like most of the bust. So like it's 3.5 inches. So imagine it's just like right under my bust line is where I went to the smallest needle, so that the part that's over your bust, even with the negative ease, is going to have the most tight stitches to create like a denser fabric that will, you know, stretch well, but also give you better shape. Then you just do decreases, like as I said, up into, there's no finishing. So like once you cast off or do your 3 needle bind off on the shoulders, you're done, which was really great. So I think the high-low is cute. I'm glad I did it for this one, but yeah, again, I think I would skip it. I think it looks fine without it, is just, I guess, the note here. I decided to do the folded hem sewn down later, and I'm glad I did, because I think oftentimes folded hems will flip a little bit, and she doesn't really tell you to use a smaller needle and then a bigger needle so that the inside part is smaller, which sometimes can help if you do one size down for those, like, I don't know, let's say it's 9 rows. Then you do, and this one has a purl row, you do the purl row in your bigger needle, and then you knit going up from there. And that, like, if you knit your, 9 more rows or 8 more rows or whatever, and then you do a 3, like a pick up from the cast on and knit 2 together, you can do it that way. I truly hate to do that. I think it's like the row that takes 900 years. And I think it often flips up because you're picking up every single stitch, and just like the density of that sometimes, like with that one tighter row, just causes the fabric to move. So the way that I did this is I just left a really long tail. I did a 2 inside outside. Maybe I did it with 2 balls. I don't remember. I did a cast on with like 2 ends so that I could leave an intentionally long, like as long as I wanted it, tail. And then I actually just put that with a baby hair tie. Put a little hair tie around it so it wouldn't flip around while I was knitting. I knit maybe like 2 or 3 inches, and then and including the short rows, and then I took the tail and sewed it down, and I did 2 out of 3 stitches so that it's not quite as dense, and also you can control your tension a lot more, and it's no flipping whatsoever. So I think that was the right move for this. When you do your V's, I didn't say this last week because I had done the front one. When you do your V's, there's a single cable stitch, like a right cross stitch, that does really help from getting that like one elongated stitch in the middle. Like it's very much helpful. What I do think is that in this one, because of the way the decreases are, I think a 2x2 cable maybe would have even been better. I don't know if she did that or if she just wanted to solve that like elongated stitch, but because of the way you do the decreases, this looks like a 2-stitch I-cord sort of, so it would have been cool if it like led into that. Okay, just a thought, something to think about that I could add next time. Overall, I think I said this, hopefully, that this is a pattern by Torio. I have made like 7 patterns by Torio. I enjoy all of them. I think they're easy to follow. I don't think any of her instructions are ever really unclear. And she also doesn't include like a lot of extra fluff. They're like pretty, but they're not bare bones. They're like very much like my perfect pattern. I think that's like a weird, there's a weird thing to say, but like, I think like formula wise, just like enough instruction, clear instructions, not a lot of extra fluff. That's how I enjoy patterns. On the opposite spectrum of like a lot of instruction, but also that I really enjoy is Claire Jackson's. But I think that's partly because she includes like her big tables and stuff. And so those patterns are much meatier, but I think there's a way because her actual instructions are relatively slim and then you don't have to look through a bunch of numbers. I also like those. So, you know, I'm multifaceted as we all are. So let's rate this really quick. Would I make this again? Yes, for sure. I really would. I think the shaping is really nice. Yeah, and I thought overall, like, it was fine. I mean, bottom up things are somehow just more annoying, but I think getting so much length in the bigger needle was really amazing. So that's where I added the first inch of length, and then I added about a half inch in my 3.25 millimeter needle, the smallest needle. Yeah, I think that's what I ended up doing. So I added about 1.5 inches in length from the bottom up. Knowing the measurements though, now if I made another one with similar yarn that I got a similar gauge, I would absolutely just use these measurements and be like, that's what I'm going to knit to, you know, et cetera, like, and that would be even better, less thinking. Not doing the short rows would also be nice. But yeah, I would do this for another version for sure. I also think I like the V in the back, but I think this one would be fine too if I just did like a little swoop in the back. Then you don't have to do as much thinking to do the decreases, like just as a thing to change for this. I wouldn't need to, I guess, but that's just like one feature to make it like a little bit different if I wanted to have like similar but different tops. But I kind of like that it's a little bit roomy on the bottom. So if you're having like a bloaty day, but you want it to like look fitted up here, like it would be a really good one to grab. Yeah, so overall good. Would I knit using this yarn again? Absolutely. I think this is the only linen sock I have from Explore Knits, but I really like this combo of merino and linen. I think it doesn't hurt your hands at all. It feels like you're just knitting merino. There's really no issues. It's got all that same bounce. It's a 4-ply, so it just like the stitch definition is really nice. The color is obviously gorgeous. This is Beet Juice from the from the Farmers Market collection last year. So when she brings this back in another collection, and especially for a tonal, I think this just like such an amazing, it's just really amazing. I had 2 skeins. I did no helical knitting for this one. I just, you know, when I ran out, I used the other one, and I think the color is absolutely uniform. That's not always the case, even with Allie's yarns. Like sometimes there's just a little bit different, but this one was perfect. It's a great color. It makes me happy. Okay, that's all. Overall, love. And so this is my second top for the PKW Flock U Knit Along, which I'm hosting along with my friends Ariel and Emily. We are going to do a meetup at Flock next week. Wow, next week. Ah, so exciting. For any of our listeners on any of our different platforms who wanted to join, I, on my Discord, posted a vote for meetup time. So please go in and vote if you are joining at Flock, so I know when you're coming. If you are not on Discord and don't want to join Discord, at least put a comment below so I can just count your vote also. Right now, Saturday in the afternoon is definitely the leader. I know not everyone's going to be able to join in a singular time. If we get enough votes for Sunday, maybe we'll do 2 or at least do a picture on Sunday. If you cannot join the picture, that time doesn't work for you, you're in a class, you're only coming Sunday, whatever. I mean, I don't know that Saturday is going to win, but at this point it's pretty much a landslide. If you are still wanting to meet up, but you can't come Saturday or whatever, please like let me know, and we can try to still meet you to take a picture, or you can see any one of us on the floor and just ask to take a picture. That would be totally fine. I on Saturday will be wearing my green knit. This is the one thing that's been decided in our flock plans for our knitting group. We have one of our friends who is only going to be able to be there on Saturday, and so we're going to wear our green knits on Saturday. So if you see a bunch of green people walking around, that's us, and please say hi. I'm going to say this every time. Please say hi. I'm very nice and I would love to meet you. You spend so much time with me. I would love to at least know your name and say hi and put a face to it, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. I don't know for pictures if I'll wear this one. I probably am going to wear the Uptown tee. Just because, you know, I don't want to bring a cardigan for the pictures. And I don't like have my arms out. Really? I mean, I will do it if it's hot enough, but we're going to be inside air conditioning. So I'll probably just change into my Uptown tee. Let's go on to the other thing I finished this week. I finished, and I did take pictures, so I will pop one up here in a second. Let me just pull it up first. My very modified ribble crop top worsted by Jessie made. That's so cute. Okay, I'll tell you about the last modifications because I did the whole top part this week. I think the whole top part and maybe like a little bit of body still. So I had this much last week, and now I'll put the picture up wherever, and it's really cute. Okay, it is cute on her. This is gonna have to be adjusted over time if she wants to keep wearing this. I did block it out, not super aggressively, like honestly it has more stretch than this, but I did to where I thought all the stitches were laying pretty flat, and when it was wet I laid it on blocking mats. I pinned all the way down on both sides. I pinned a little bit at the top just to get this space. When I was pinning it, I was like, oh gosh, this back neck, and I had just bound off in pattern or just knit. I think I just did knit bind off for all of these, was pretty tight. And I was like, I actually don't think that's going to fit over her head. So, and I mean, this is a problem. She even actually puts this, I think, for the extra small size and the small size, that if you're concerned about head circumference, then do a stretchy bind off, otherwise bind off in pattern. And I did not heed that warning. Why would I? I don't know. And so, but like I had measured, I pulled this is bottom up. So I also put this on Theo just without this front side being done. Pretty close to done. I think I added like 4 rows, and then I did the other side to match. And I was like, okay, this is going to match up pretty good. I probably could have added another like 2 to 4 rows, and it still would have been fine because the I-cord did bring the armpit in a little bit. But this is sitting on a nice place on her chest right now without being like too much. Like it's not this much scoop on her, you know, it's a little scoop. She's a baby. She doesn't need a cleavage out, right? But I could not get it over her head last night when I tried it on her. So it was fully dried. I tried it on her and I was like, So I actually just cut right in the exact middle stitch, and I unwound it both directions, sewed that to end in, picked the stitches back up, not in that order, picked the stitches up first, obviously, then I sewed in the other ends. But then I took another new piece of yarn because I have a ton of yarn left for this, and I did like a surprisingly stretchy bind off. So, and that like gives just enough to get over her head. And it's not a struggle to get over her head, but it's definitely like not loose around her head. So in the future, what I will need to do is I'll need to undo these I-cords, and I do have just an I-cord on either side that I did with my cordsmith, because obviously I'm not going to do any I-cords without my cordsmith, especially if I'm designing it. It's not like I need anything particular, but it looks really nice. And I picked up 4 out of 5. I probably could have picked up every stitch, and this would have given us a little bit more time and room. We'll see how long this goes, and then I'll make adjustments. And I don't really care. Like, I think that's fine. I can rip out the I-cords very easily. They're not hard to do, especially because it's applied. So it's not like I don't have to worry about those stitches at all, like getting dropped or something like that, right? And then I can just rip out this whole back area, put them back on needles, and add more. No, do I want to do that a ton? No. But if this fits her for like a year or a year and a half, and then she still wants to wear it, I could do this so that she can wear this for another 2 years. And like, that's worth it to me than making a whole new thing, right? Like, that's something that will probably take me like 2 to 3 hours versus an entire garment, which at least something this small probably only took me like 15 hours, but like that's a lot more time. What I will say also is that I made this a lot. This goes way over her belly. There's no crop happening here. So this will fit her for a long time. And I say belly because she's still like a baby, and you know, she's got baby body. And after she eats meals, she's got a little baby belly and it's very cute. But I wanted just to make sure that it goes all the way down, because like sometimes her pants like sit under or shorts or whatever. So she's not got like a lot of butt hanging out and things like that. Yeah, but she was so excited last night. I was like barely even got the last end woven in. She's like, I want it on, mommy. And so she wore this around last night for the rest of the night until bedtime. And it was very cute. And it's a cute color on her. She's got like light brown hair and fair coloring. And so yeah, it looks great. Okay, sorry, as a reminder, this is the extra small size. Obviously, all of this is adjusted. This is the part that's none of this is to pattern. I actually did the decreases to pattern, but then you're supposed to knit like, you know, this much more or whatever, so it could go over a grown-up head. And I did not do that. I just did a tiny bit more. I will put notes on this in Ravelry, just in case anybody ever wants to hack this. Similarly, it was a really easy hack. I would tell you the things I would do differently also than my very loosey-goosey measurements and things like that. But this is Sagrada Familia on Carlsbad worsted, which is 100% superwash merino from Explorer Knits and Fibers. It's 218 yards for 100 grams. You could do this also with a DK weight, and it would just be a little bit airier of fabric. So yeah, done. We're done with that. Let's move on. Oh, and sorry, I just wanted to point out that was on my gift make 9. So I'm doing great getting make 9s done. Actually, the next thing I'll show you is another gift make 9 for Theo. She's pretty much the rest of the make 9, but I did, I think I have one more thing for a friend, and so I will eventually get that done. Actually, maybe I'll probably cast that on pretty soon. I have the yarn wound and everything for it, but I want to finish this first, and I want to cast on another for me. So I just continue, because I have 2 make 9s. I have one for gifts, one for me. I know that's crazy, but I'm going to continue on for the rest of the year. Maybe next year I won't do that, but it's actually been really great to keep me focused and skip some test knits. I'm like, I would like to just knit that later, and that's an okay place. It's an okay thing. Okay, so I have the Battenberg mini to talk about. Where was I last week? I didn't put any stitch markers on, and I don't remember. So I think I had maybe not quite finished the back panel, because I think I just wanted to finish the 2 front panels. Well, I did not do that. So here is the back panel, and I did the extra, yeah, I did the extra, like for some of the sizes you do like an extra just color B is what it's called, color B row or whatever, right? So this is the whole back. This looks pretty big. It is pretty big. This is quite oversized as far as like cardigans go. It's like very just boxy, right? This is side 1, and I was gonna do side 2, but I was finishing this one up, I think at knit night on Monday. And this side, just with the triangle, it's a little bit harder to figure out like what direction to start so that you don't have to like cut ends and go back and other things like that. And so I did not do that. I just didn't want to figure that out at midnight. So I started on an arm. And so I did this arm. And then the other night was like, oh, we were watching K-pop Demon Hunters, and I didn't have anything that was just like I don't really have to look at to work on. Other than this, I just didn't have to think about very much. And since I had the arms were really easy, because this is just like you start one place and you know it, whatever, it's really easy to figure out how you're supposed to start for the join as you go. And so I just did the second one, and so now these are both done. So the only thing I have left is the right side front, and then I just have, I'm gonna be real honest here, and I don't have the picture in front of me, even though it was probably just on the screen. I think there's like kind of a button band that you add. I'm not entirely sure, and I don't think it's super wide, even if there is. I think this has buttons on it, so I'm assuming there is gonna be a button band. So I will do that once I sew it all together. And I believe that it's all, some of it might be sewn together and some of it is just single crocheted together. Like I think the shoulders are just single crocheted together across like the front and back. And that's like the super fast way to do it. So yeah. So I have just, none of these are like, it still takes a couple hours to do all of these things. Like, it didn't take me very long to make these squares, but this join as you go definitely, it's a lot of stitches to go around. But I will finish these relatively quickly, and that's kind of exciting. So I will finish this one maybe this week. That would be a nice going into next week, either having this done or having this need only to be sewn together would be pretty cool. We have a busy weekend coming up, so just getting stuff ready for my mom to be gone for a week. So yeah, we shall see. But I'm really excited. I think it's coming along great. I think it looks really cute. Theo has peeked this a couple of times. I actually have not worked on this with her, but it's just like been on the couch or whatever upstairs, and she's like, "This is for me," and I was like, "Yes, you're right, you adorable child. This will be for you eventually." And so I'm very excited about getting another of those gift make 9s done. Talking about we'll talk about another make 9 that I did cast on for me this week. I think I'd like to cast another one on for me before I go to another for her or for my friend. And it'll probably be my friend first, because I'm going to do the helix halter top, and that should be very quick from, I think it's from Park or from Jessie made. I don't know. I have the pattern. I think it's Park. Okay. Let's do this sort of out of order. So I have my book snake to talk about, and that would be the next project in cast on order, but I want to go through books titles, and so let me just do the other projects first, and then we'll talk about the book snake. Book snake is coming along well though. So let's talk about my first new cast on this week, which is for and this is not a secret, this is a gift knit for a friend who is pregnant, and they picked it. So this is not a secret. So I'm going to talk about it because it's not a secret, right? From this fun book. And this, I won't say who it is because I don't know how much they've shared on social media, but this is a book I bought when I think I bought it when I went to my spin class with Maya, because it was at La Mercerie. And I knew it was at La Mercerie because Emily had made Moosh. And she was like, "Oh, I got this at La Mercerie." And obviously you probably get this other places, but that's where I purchased this. And I will show you a couple of these pictures because these have nothing to do with the actual patterns. You see, why are they so cute? I shared this book when I originally got this, but this was 2 years ago at this point now. They're just like the cutest. And I don't remember, there's a yarn shop around here. Maybe it's Needles and Hooks, or there's somewhere where there's a couple of these sitting out, like somebody had knit these for the shop, and maybe La Mercerie had a couple also, but they're so cute. Okay, so there's a lot of cute adorable ones. I have on my make 9 this year to make one of these for Theo. Theo's waffled a little bit between which one she's wanted. I kind of want to make Aggie the sheep first, but I am making one for a friend, so I got to practice, essentially, and also because there's a deadline, because there's a baby coming. And so I am making Nanna the duck. I'm going to make a very similar outfit to this, as much as I can from scraps. I'm not gonna go get yarn for this. But this is the thing that I did buy yarn. Oh, I am not going to bring it down. I do have an acquisition this week, and that's this yarn because I've already started using it. And I bought 2 things from Wool & Co. for this. And one is because I have gray yarn, obviously. You can see I have some gray yarn here. But I do not have a very dark gray, just single skein. I don't have one. I have a couple of light gray single skeins, and both, I'm going to make 2 of these ducks, and both of the people that picked them, they were like, "We like the dark gray that Nanna the duck is made out of." And I was like, okay, well, we can find an economical way to get that gray into stash. The duck will take about 30 grams. So I will be able to get both ducks out of this, and maybe even one for Theo then. So I was like, you know what, this is okay. This is an okay purchase, right? Obviously, I'm trying to buy a lot of things before flock, which is just happening next week, but this is purposeful. The other thing I bought, which I'm also not going to bring down, is I bought a knitting for Olive, the burnt orange color, because the other one I'm going to cast on, and I'm going to space these out a little bit. But the last one I'm going to make 3 of these for friends that are pregnant. 2 ducks and 1 Henri, who is an orangutan. And so you need a mohair, and I actually already have the orange from Stash. So, you know, it was not a crazy purchase, but let's talk about this because I cast it on here. Why I brought the book down too, not only because these are very cute, but because I want to tell you a couple of things that are in here. I think this is amazing. So you might be like, wow, these are going to be really hard to make and really fiddly. You're not wrong. But you may be like, well, it's going to be too hard for me. I think that's where you would be wrong. She has this amazing thing in here where she tells you all the things that you're going to need. She tells you a whole bunch of stuff about working in small circumferences. It's like her opinions, the ways to do it, like two different methods, essentially DPNs or a magic loop. This is too small, generally speaking, for you to use like small circs. You could use it on the part that I'm on right now, maybe, but like it's still maybe not enough stitches. And then she tells you about picking yarn, all the other tools you'll need, including safety eyes versus, you know, sewing on eyes, like notions, all the things. And then she tells you, she's got these things that are called lessons. And the lessons range from casting on, and there's a couple different ways to do it depending on what animal you're picking. And then changing colors, tracking your stitch count, adding eyes, doing your decreases, doing short rows, holding stitches when you're setting up arms or different other things. I think there are a total of 14 lessons, including finishing your animal. And you might be like, well, that's gonna be crazy for me to read through. I was like, you know, it's probably like 20 pages or 30 pages of stuff, 20 pages or so of like just starting stuff. But what she does, which I think is really clever, is that, so this is the Nanna the Duck pattern here, is that I go to the beginning. It says, starting, see lessons 1 through 5. And you're like, well, that's still a lot to look at. But what you do when you go there is it tells you right at the top, for start, Lady Duck, Nanna, the Lady Duck, uses number 3. So, and then lessons 1 through 5 are other things like tracking your stitch count, placing your markers, changing colors, which actually does happen, you know, shortly after you start the bill. These are not things like, if it says mark the placement for something and you know a method to do that you like, you could just do that. She gives you alternates because this is small circumference, because this is very tight knitting. Here's the way that she would suggest to do this. And it's all like, it's as clear as it can be, with making these patterns still read like a pattern, and you're referring back to like an index with some more information so that, and what I did when I started this is I went through and I just like skimmed those lessons. I was like, okay, well, I don't need to do 1 and 2 because that doesn't matter for this. 3 is the start for this duck. And then I read through her notes on like the placing of, I didn't need for the markers. Oh, she really just says if you're using magic loop, then just use magic loop, like use that as your marker, right? And I just thought it was fine. It was really like very easy to follow what's going on. Okay, now that I've told you all these things, I would like to report that I'm enjoying myself very much. This is 2mm needles. This is just one size. One suggestion she also makes is that if you're using a certain type of yarn, like let's say if you just decided to do this in sport and change your needle size, just make sure you're doing the same thing for your clothes. That will obviously affect the size of the finished, you know, animal. It's not going to be what she puts as the dimensions, but overall you can do that. You just need to then also change the size of your clothes, etc. too, so that they're all just, they fit. Okay, so here is Nanna so far. She's so cute. Okay, so this is all top-down construction, and this is all seamless. So this is one of the reasons that, you know, Emily and I had talked about this when she made Moosh, is that like obviously the bear, he is not like less going on. He's still got arms and legs, and she's got 2 arms and legs. But for some of the ones like the pig and the bear and stuff, they have ears. I have not read through the pattern, so I don't know if you like knit a very tiny ear and then sew it down, but I don't think so. I think that you might just like pick up those stitches again and knit the ear, and then, you know, you have to sew down the or, you know, bind it off somehow to the fabric. But the way that this one is, her beak is stuffed. Nothing else is stuffed right now. But the way that this one works is you start with the bill and you just knit. I mean, you knit with a bunch of short rows. You do all different kinds of short rows. Like I think there's 3 sets of short rows to shape the top of her head, which is so cool. I did put safety eyes in here. I know people have feelings about safety eyes and babies, but these are all responsible parents I'm going to be giving this to. And also, this is very tight fabric, and I also have a layer of felt under there. I don't think there's a lot of ways that this safety eye is going to just pop off without one of these parents realizing that it's getting loose. And so I will just, you know, give them that warning. I know, but like, you know, Theo has a ton of animals with eyes, and some, you know, some fashion, like, you know, manufactured ones too. And like, never has she chewed on an eye to pop it off. So I'm not that worried about it. And she's a pretty crazy kid. So these people will probably have less crazy kids. But these do not get stuffed. They just do stay little duck wings. And so you know, after you do the short rows and join back to create the top part of the body, you then just put on hold everything but what you're doing for the wing. You do the wing all the way down. She does a really clever thing to keep using the same yarn instead of having to cut and have ends here. I mean, it's like, there are things about this that I just think are so genius. And so yeah, she's got her 2 little wings. I'm all the way into the body increases. I don't have a ton of body left, like, you know, probably a good amount, but not like, it's not the majority. Like maybe this is halfway of the body. I have a couple more increase rounds, I think. And then she'll get the bottom. And I'm not exactly sure when you stuff this, because again, I didn't like read through all of every step before I started. So I'm just trusting the process. So then she'll get stuffed, and everything is woven into this point, because you kind of, you know, there's places where she says like stop and weave in and do these features, because it's gonna be really hard to flip it inside out later. You can flip it inside out, but more difficult. And then I think I did the wing weave in also already. So there's nothing I have to do before I stuff it eventually. And then I think that you do legs and like put the back on hold. You do like legs from the front or whatever. And then you finish the bottom, and like maybe right before the bottom, you stuff it most of the way. And then you finish with it not quite stuffed, and you stuff the last part. That's probably how it works. That's like how it works for the join as you go stuff, is like when I do the hippos, I like probably finish 90% of it, and then I stuff it. And then I just do the last couple of pieces. The last couple of flowers. Okay, so anyway, here she is. This is taking my 2mm needles though, and because you have to put a lot of stuff on hold, and I would prefer to do that on needles versus thread, even though it's a little bit more annoying, like it's fiddly because there's like all these kinds of needles happening. I feel like I'm not gonna be able to do these when I am working on a pair of socks, because I do prefer to do them 2 at a time. So I either will go get some more 2mm needles, that's not out of the question, or I will just finish this duck this week and then cast on socks, hopefully this like later this weekend. And then I should be in an okay place. Then I'll do the next duck after I'm done my August socks, and kind of just do that throughout the rest of the year. Which sounds wild, but also like, that's okay. I think it depends. If I'm really into making these and I don't want a big pause, then I might just go get 2 more needles. I mean, it's not a bad thing for me. But there we are. Nanna the duck. And I didn't say her name is Cynthia Valet, who does this. I don't think any of these are available individually on Ravelry. I think it is just in the book. I wish there was sort of a digital version, but this, because I have to go back so frequently, I have to go back kind of a lot. I just had like a little clippy bookmark thing in earlier, which I think Theo took out of here, that goes back to the lesson section, so I don't have to like skip back super hard, or it's not hard to skip back. So yeah, it's a great, this is, if you're interested in these, I was nervous that it was going to take forever and that I was going to really not like the process, but I have not worked on this since Sunday, and I whipped all this up Saturday and Sunday, and not even like over a long time, like a little bit at night, a little bit during baby nap. And I just like, yeah, it just did not take that long. Like, this was very enjoyable. So I am going to, and because also everything is like, you only do a little bit and then you're in the next step and then you're in the next step. So it's, yeah, it's been fun. Okay. The next thing I cast on is a Make 9 thing for me, and that is the Alpine Bloom. I talked about this last week. I wasn't sure what I was going to cast on. I have a couple options. I'm doing a crazy thing right now. I'm in the middle of a row, but I love this a lot. And I'm doing some crazy things for this to be exactly how I want it to be. Here we are. It's so cute. Okay. Here's the crazy thing I'm doing is I am doing 3 color work for some of this. I'm going to have 2 rows in this whole chart that are 4 colors. I'm not worried about it because I have devised a system. And that system, I'm doing 3 color row right now, and I ended last night because I am on the last one before it's the 4 color row, and it was too late for me to do that last night. But here's what I've devised is I have my Norwegian thimbles, and I'm a little tangled because I just threw them in here, but I have my Norwegian thimbles, and what I've decided to do is I am using one of them. So I wear them stacked like this. So I have 4 whole holes. They overlap too, so I can do all 4. I can use all 4. And I'm just doing whatever the dominant most color is. So the green right now is what I'm finishing as the dominant color, is the furthest to the bottom of my finger, right? So that's the furthest left, technically. Your dominant color, if you want it to appear dominant, as in more apparent than the background color, you need to hold on your left-hand side, in your left hand, or on the bottom of like a Norwegian thimble. So I'm holding, well, right now they're not in order, but the green is staying for the whole time that it's present then as the most preeminent dominant color, except for my 4th row, or my 4 color row, which I'll tell you about in a second. And then I'm putting like the new one. So this is like, these are like little kind of like star shaped things that come up, and I'm doing those in a light pink. The light pink is just going as the middle color, and then the black is always going to remain on the right hand side. For the 4 color ones, because what I'm joining in the 4 color ones is my most dominant color, which is going to be this really amazing, let me show you, similar brightness to this one. This is pink flamingo, I think, bright flamingo. This will be the color that is getting introduced for the big flower, and if I put this picture up, you know kind of what it looks like. This is a Caitlin Hunter pattern called the Alpine Bloom. She has the autumn alpine sweater, and I can't remember, I think that one came second. And so I really love a lot of the colorwork patterns she makes. I find and have heard a lot that like some of her shaping is a little bit odd, so it's something for me to just keep in mind. Obviously something that is circular, I have opinions on how I like it to fit, etc. So I am making the size 4, which is a 48-inch bust. Her recommended ease is to knit to fit with 2 to 8 inches of positive ease. I think she tends to pick the more oversized things. I think she's pretty small, just like from pictures. The 2 to 8 inches of positive ease, 48 inches, size 4 bust. That's 2 inches of ease for me. So I just wanted to err on the less, and the size underneath of that is like 44, which would have been negative ease, which I don't think I need I don't want for a color work, because I don't, it's going to be as open as it is, right? So most of the people that have knit this, not like a lot of people who have knit this, especially the test knitters, used like dyed in the wool spin cycle to have like a color changing yarn across the flowers. The way that the pattern is written for the flowers, which is why I'm doing 3 color work, is that much of the time these like stems and things start, even sometimes the leaves, when the flower is still sitting, so it's inset like that. If you're doing a color changing yarn, it's just one color the whole time. You don't have to worry about any of this like crazy color changing or 3 color work or whatever. I decided even for this little flower, I wanted to have the middle be a different color. So I've done a lot of the rows already, 3 color work. I decided to do it for the first flower and see if that was really going to kill me. Then I would just change my plan. But I had all these minis from Pearl Soho Linen Quill, and that's what those were gifted to me from a friend. This is what I got from D-Stash. I have like 4 skeins of this, which is more than I'm going to need for this, so I'll figure out what to do with the rest of it. But I have this from D-Stash like 2 years ago, or last year I got. And these are the mini colors I have. Okay, I'm missing one. The first pink is not here. It's upstairs somewhere. So I had 3 pinks, a white, and 3 greens. And these 2 greens here, you can tell are very similar. I'm using this one right now. This one is already done. And so and that just made my life more difficult. I could have finished it with just one of them, but I decided, why do that? Why make my life easier? So the second set of leaves is actually darker than the first set, very minusculely. Like, would it have mattered? It would have made my life easier to just do one color all the way up to here. But I did what I did. It's already done. And fun fact is that leaf is nearly done already. But the bottom leaves at the very bottom will be this bright green. The big flower will be this, and the middle will be the white. So, and all of the little stars that go around in the pattern will be that like very light pink. So this one, I guess I can tell you these colors. This, I don't know what this other pink is right now because I can't remember what it's called. But this one is, or because I don't have it down here, but this one's called Peony Pink for the little stars. Bright Flamingo for this. The first petal of leaves, or the first leaves are beach grass, and the second set is sour gooseberry, and the third set at the bottom will be this golden green, and then I think this is heritage white. Pale oats will be the white color. And then the black, I think it's called black. I don't honestly know. That one they didn't, oh, they do have labels, but here, I'll tell you. This is called Kettle Black. Oh yeah, Kettle Black. So that's that. Yeah, overall, like I think it's stunning. I'm really, really excited for this, and it would be really fun if I had this split for sleeves for flock. That would be a nice thing to bring around. It's not going to weigh a ton, and I think it's really pretty. And after I get done the color work, it's going to be miles of stockinette, so it'd be nice to just get that done. This pattern is really fun because I'm going to try a couple of new things here. So first of all, let me put these down so I don't have to hold them. As you can see here, this has a lace collar. And so because of the way you start it, you know, with a long tail cast on or whatever, and then you do your lace down, to have matching lace on your sleeves, you have to knit them separately and then graft them. If you had just started the sweater and then picked up your neckline and done that, which would have been much easier than all of the sleeves, I think, you could have just knit them in the same direction. I wasn't going to change it. I also feel like it's a fun thing to just try something crazy and new. So of the efforts of this, the 4-color color work is going to be much worse in a round than doing one grafting round for the sleeves. I don't mind that. I've also seen a couple people do that with a 3-needle bind off, and they have like a purl ridge then, which actually looks pretty cute. You could also do it the other way so that it's like an inverted ridge, but the ridge looks cute too. I don't think I care very much, so I don't mind graft. Like I'm fine to Kitchener these together. Like I think that's how you do it. So that just doesn't feel like a big deal. What I do think is if the sleeves really don't feel like a huge deal, I'm tempted to do that for the hem, because I think like otherwise it's just a 1x1 or 2x2 knit hem, which is fine, but I love the look of this lace, and I think that having that at the bottom would be really, really pretty. So I think it's like worth the effort if you like that look overall. So potentially, let's just see how the arms go first. So I'll definitely knit like a good amount of the body, then I'll do the arms once I can really check for fit, and then I'll add once I add them on, I can just like make that decision and tell you guys what I think. So here we are so far, my Alpine Bloom. Really excited about it. Okay, second cast on of the week. I still think I'm going to cast on another of my Make 9 this weekend, and I think that it's going to be my no sweatshirt. So, because I really love that for like September. So I'm going to do that. And also because I don't have to wind yarn for that one because they're already in like balls. So yeah, we can talk about that next week if I do that. And then it'll be between that, like if I get even just through some of the increases, I could take that to flock. I really have nothing to take to flock if I don't split for sleeves for this. So I'm going to make a big effort to get done all of the color work. It's a 62 row color work chart and I'm at 28. So this is looking like it's positive. It could happen. I cast on Sunday, but I did not do any color work until Monday because I got through short rows, which this does have short rows, and they're I'll show you. They're not super deep or anything, but I think that, you know, it will help in the back. So you've got like a good amount of black above, whereas like in the front, you don't have any, you know, it's just the collar, which will help with fit and things. My worry is that it'll be a little bit deep. That's like the note that people get, but I think sizing down will mean that my armhole depth, I just don't think it'll be I don't think it'll be like super deep. I also think that probably with how it's written is that you do like 1 row of knit or 2 rows of knit and then you just graft on your sleeve. I think, you know me, just depending on where it fits, I might give myself another like 3/4 of an inch or an inch of just plain knitting before I do the sleeve. And that also I feel like affects how you open your wings, you know, like how much it lifts when you do that motion. So we shall see. All things to be determined. Okay, let's go to my book snake and let's talk through the books. I finished all the way through quarter 1. We are truly going into quarter 2, and I've got to tell you, this is going to be so long because this is how long it is now. And this is only 1 quarter. I don't want to make many of these heads, so I don't want to make 1 per quarter. I'm committing to the whole year, which means that this is going to be able to wrap around my body like 4 times or more. So that's fun. It'll be really fun. Theo really wants to play with it. She's come into my office a couple of times and seen it and been like, can I have that? And I'm like, it's not done yet, but like when it's done, maybe. It's now so comic. It's going to be so comically long. It'll be pretty funny if she does play with it. She's going to be able to drag it like rooms and rooms away. Okay, let's talk about the colors we have. Newly added here. And I will say, I mean, I did this much. Feels like a lot. It feels like more than last week, but it's not. It's, I think, like almost the same amount as last week that I added. So that's pretty good though, at least for pace. Will I continue doing this pace? Probably not this week because I'm gonna be working half days next week because my mom's out of town. So I will not have time I'm not gonna be in as many meetings to be knitting on this, and also like that some of my desk time is just also at night, and I think with my mother-in-law being here, I'm not gonna have that time. So that's okay. Here's where we are, and let's go through colors. So this is called, for the end, these are the last 2 books of the Hello series. So this one here is in my neon era, and I used that for the Hello Tees. And I thought that was, I mean, it's a very pink color. And then this one is for Hello Quarterback, which is the very purple, and it's a darker purple. So I went with this like purpley blue color. It's a little bit of depth to it, I think. And then this one I thought was so hard for me to pick. This one is called From City of Ruin, which is the second of the Witchwalker series. The Witchwalker ones were hard for me because I just wanted to like capture that depth. Maybe it's like the books I care about a little bit more I wanted to do that with. So I did like a maroon held with a very autumnal like orangey red, and I thought that kind of captures like the flames on the cover. The next one is for The Wolf and the Witch, which is the 3rd book, and you can kind of tell this is like a very kind of cooler tan color with the red, which I thought was like a good match for that, and also because like from the book. So that's what I did. Okay. This one here is from Too Hot to Handle, which is number 1 of the Romancing the Clarksons. That's a tubular from my mom's shirt held double to give that like kind of blue sky-y color. Like this maybe is the closest color, but also there's a little bit of green and there's a little bit of yellow, which is like, you know, parts of the cover. Then this is my first Gold Rush Ranch. Also, this is a good reminder for some series that I want to continue reading. There are no more available from the library for me for Elsie Silver, but I can hunt them down. This is for, Off to the Races. And there's just like a ton of really pretty like blues and grays in there. So I picked a gray and a blue. It's actually like a gray with blue like speckles on it, and I held that double. Okay, then I have one of my favorite Mariana Zapata books from this year, which is The Wall of Winnipeg. And so I went with this like teal-y color, and then I held it with one that was white and teal together. So you get like, because the words are white on that book. And so I thought that would be fun. Then I did Mistborn. This one was hard because there's a bunch of Mistborn covers. I'm gonna be honest here, I don't love really any of them, but I especially don't love the one that's like actually on my Storygraph, which is from like maybe the first publishing of it, but it has like this weird guy's face in the bottom corner. It's like a creepy cover. This is the only one that's like tagged as the audiobook, so that's why it's on there, because I track which is audio, which is digital that I read. But this cover that comes up, I think is like a pretty, like, it's more of what I think the series covers would look like. And so this is Pike Place, and then a dark charcoaly like gray held fingering. So this one's a little bit thicker. Then I have Assassin's Blade, which I think I used Borealis on DK for that one. Just like that's like the background kind of color. And then this is from my 3 Seasons pullover. This one is like Cascade Cantata. This is from Too Wild to Tame, which is Romancing the Clarksons #2. Then I've got some more handspun in here, and this is my handspun Firefly, and I kind of wish I had held that double or with something because it feels a little bit thin, but I picked this to go with the husbands because the colors in here are like purple and like a bluey green and brown, and I just felt like that was like that was a special book to me. I really liked reading that one. And so, okay, so then the next one, this one I also really struggled with picking the color. This one is for The First Throne of Glass. And I picked like this dark blue that has like red and blue and orange and green speckles in it. And I think because there's like that the red behind it and the yellow in the front, I thought that was like a pretty good match. And I kind of like it. I think it's pretty good. Okay, this is maybe the best match just like visually this week, and this is Two Can Play from Ali Hazelwood. I just had this yarn that this was one of the ones that I think between Sylvan and Katie gave me that's just like absolutely perfect for the cover. Like it's the exact colors. And then we have here, this is actually the Sport Weight. I held it double from my Traveler, Boysenberry for Crown of Midnight. And then here we have, this is not the perfect pink for this, but I wanted it because like visually these two look like different cover colors. I didn't think that, and like there was something about I held in my Neon Era up and it just wasn't the right pink. So I went with this really bright, this was the mini from the birthday La Mercerie sock set that I had. And I think Sylvan gave me some extras of hers too. So this is too beautiful to break. From the Clarksons, and actually this is, probably I should have just swapped these. This is 4 and this is 3. I finished them on the same day because I finished this one in a day. So really they're the alternate ways, but like it just does this in, you know, like this is just the order that I had them in. So my bad, but this is 4, this is 3. This is Quicksilver, and I really thought hard about this one too. So I wanted that like silver element, which I did get in there with the yarn. And then I held it with, this is Lampblack from Grenouille, and I held it with a teal that had a lot of like also like dark bits in it because I think the background is like really bluey teal, and that was also one of my favorite books. So I thought long and hard about that one, and I really like that combo. Then this is A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. This one was Beg, Borrow, and Steal from Sarah Adams, which is her Rome, Kentucky books. Those are probably my favorite series from Sarah Adams, and this was the 3rd one that just came out this year, so that one was pretty fun. I also thought really hard about this one. This is a Sorella mini that I wound up to do this, and I've not wound many of colors to do this. Like I've already had a lot of these. These are just like leftovers or minis already had wound, or, you know, gifted minis. But this one, I just needed like the perfect like pinky color, and this has like a little bit of red in it too, so that was good. This is Air of Fire, and I went with more of like the background color, and I also thought that that one's like a little bit reminiscent of Flame. This is number 3 of Throne of Glass, and it's where she like refines her powers or reconnects with her powers. Okay, then I have 4 of the Dragon Shifters books, and I went with her dress color for all of them. So you'll see them pop up here, but this is it's the Dragon Shifters Mates. Remember, this is like a reverse harem book that I read all of these in like a weekend because they were pretty short. This one is Dragon's Guard. This one is Dragon's Tears. This one is Dragon's Desires. And this one is Dragon's Fate, which I thought that was like a pretty good gold color for her dress. Okay, this one, then I switched last minute when I was looking at them last night. I think I finished these last 4 last night, or last 5 last night. This one is Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. This is like her sci-fi kind of YA book. I didn't read any more of this. I don't know that I'll go back to read them. I think about them sometimes, so like maybe I should, because I kind of want to know what's going to happen. But she like falls in love, or is in love with like a droid or an alien or whatever. I don't know. But I thought this was like kind of a spacey sort of color, and then it has like a little bit of that silver, but like if you see the Heart of Iron, or the iron is like very like bluey and has like a lot of depth. So I thought that was like a really fun combo. And that's like a silver held with like a silver with speckles held with a like a purpley blue galaxy-ish color. Okay, then I did Dream Girl Drama, and I did this a red and a pink held together. This is a really light pink with speckles. The cover is predominantly red, but to me, like, her whole thing is like she's like a bubblegum kind of human. I wanted that pink in there as just like to lift it a little bit as far as like colors for the cover. Okay, then we have Sway, and this is her lipstick color, as close as I could get. And then we've got, and that's the Delicious #1. These are like Lauren Dane, you know, zero thinking kind of books. Then we've got Queen of Shadows, which is book 4 of Throne of Glass. I thought that was like a pretty good combo. These are all like, all these covers are really reminiscent of each other inside of color. So I picked something a little bit different. So her lipstick, like a combo of like the red, it's a little bit more red than this color, with lamp black also. No, with a gray. And then this one is actually just lamp black held double, and it has so much depth in it. And I decided that would be a really good one for the wings. There's definitely like lights and darks in there. And so that's like reminiscent of the wing, which is like the most important part. From Rhapsodic, sorry, this is from Rhapsodic, The Bargainer, book 1. Okay, then we've got the Meant to Be series start here. This is book 1 by Julie Murphy, called If the Shoe Fits, and it's like the Cinderella Bachelor kind of retelling, which was a fun one. And this is Lucy in the Sky held double for my mom's sweater. And then this last one is just a blue here. It's just like, it's a very denim-y kind of blue color, but this is for a Good Boy from Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen. It's The Wags book 1, which is one of my first digital books I read this year and that I really enjoyed. So here we are. I have a total of 63. So Q1 was 63 books. That's pretty crazy. This is going to be so enormous. I'm going to keep going. Let me know what you think so far of our book snake. Okay, I have 2 quick spin updates here, and that is that Tour de Fleece is over, and these are the last 2 bobbins I finished. So this is a Hello Lavender. So this is 100% Falkland Merino, it's like a 26 micron too. It's not super soft, but it's got very lofty. It's like got a lot of air. It was a really nice spin from Hello Lavender in Tropical Sunset, which is a really fun color. I think I got this at Flock last year. I did a second spin also. This is a full 4-ounce braid. And then I did this spin. This is from Wool for the Dame in the color Neapolitan, and it's 100% merino. It's like a 22 micron, I think. And I will say this one had like more of it, and I don't know, just because I got this braid from someone. I did not buy this from Wool for the Dame. And so this one, it just felt like it had gotten handled a lot, and there were like more kind of like felty bits in it than like this. This one spun a little bit easier, and this one not quite as easy. And merino is usually fine to spin, especially when it's not super washed, it's not super slippery. But you can kind of tell, I tried to keep them similar-ish in density and spin and whatever it's called, grist. And like with the spin. And I tried to spin these a little bit more, like so that this will be a DK. I don't actually know if I want to hold them together. I don't know. This has a lot of brown in it, so I don't know that I like this color very much. Though it does, I mean, it is very like pink brown, a little bit of that yellowy color, but then pink, brown, and white. to be Neapolitan ice cream. I think that it's pretty good for that. I was getting that while I was spinning it, but yeah, I mean, I think this would, like, this one will lift this whole thing to be a lot more like pinky yellow look. So that was like kind of the vibe I was going for. I was thinking though, I might just right now spin 4 bobbins, which is like a little bit crazy, but, and not do any plying, and maybe try these also to see like just when I'm doing the spin. This one is called Mum's the Word, and this is what I got from Rose City this year from Shaggy Bear Farms. And this is Polypay, which I would really love to try to spin. This color is, I thought was really close to this color, but now that I'm like looking at it and after I spun this, I think that this purple is a lot deeper. And some of the brown here is gonna, I think, read a little bit more purple than the brown here. But so I don't know. I love the idea of doing like really contrasty color spins. And you just don't know what you're gonna get from that. I mean, and I just did that really crazy color braid. But I also like the idea of spinning some things where I maybe don't like 100% really love the color. Like, I don't know that I would use this one for me anyway, but I have 2 braids of this. And I thought it would be kind of fun if I did it with another 4 ounce of something different, but that's like in the same family. So this one's called Falling Leaves, and this one's called Mum's the Word, which mums are like a fall thing. So I thought like maybe this would be like a fun fall kind of spin. But I also maybe just want to spin all of them up and see which mix would be nice, because these 2 would be really, really close to mix. And these would actually be, I think, pretty, like, this would be a pretty fun mix too. But, and then I also have another one of this. So if I decide like, nope, I'm going to just hold this and I'm going to just spin those 2 together, I could do that. And I could make this a 3-ply. Do you have ideas? I mostly don't know what I want to do right now is what I'm deciding, but I was like, oh, I don't want to just stop and not spin anything. So I'm going to just spin a couple things and just spin several 4 ouncers and then decide what I want to do. Fine. So we'll see. Let me know. And that still gives me a little bit extra, like, no, there's not any room here, but I took some yarns from elsewhere. And so I have some more space, for things from Flock then potentially, we'll see. Let's do books real quick. I finished A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas, which is 3.5 of A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's really like a novella. It's only 6 hours long, in audiobook. It is sort of the transition point between the perspective of Feyre and Rhys, and then go to Cassian and Nesta. A bunch of characters have perspectives in this as opposed to just the Rhys and Feyre perspective. Fine, it's just like really short, and it's essentially just Solstice. And so you hear about like post-war, what is still the drama, or like what's the drama restart. And you also get to just spend like a very lovely evening with all your friends. That's how it feels. It's a little bit of a filler book, but I do think she intentionally did that so that you don't like, because the way that A Court of Silver Flames, which is what I'm reading now, and is almost, I'm like 3/4 of the way done, it would be a very abrupt change, I think, to that, or you'd need like these beginning chapters that then like are not great, because this is like a whole like 8 months later or half a year later or whatever. Anyway, finished that one. I then finished with my eyeballs, Wild Side, which is the Rose Hill #3 from Elsie Silver. I've already got the other 2. Oh, I've got one of them in here already, in The Snake. And it was my first Elsie Silver series, and I just love it. I think it's so great. So this one was not expected because I just didn't know. This is about also a character named Rhys and Tabitha, who is like a key character in, they're both in all of the books, I'm pretty sure. And so there's a lot of timeline overlap. So you actually go back in time a little bit to them. You don't go back and forth in time. You just go back to like the beginning of their story, and you jump a little bit more so that you can like get up to the present, because the characters don't know some of the things and you're learning stuff, and then they start telling you more things, right? And these are both like 2 kind of like very closed off characters. And Tabitha's like really loving and has a lot of things, but she's like a little bit of a people pleaser, and she's also like a fixer. And so she also keeps like her emotions, like her frustrations, whatever, kind of welled up. And Reese is just a secret keeper. I'm not going to tell you what his job is because that's like the whole mystery of the books, but it was not what I was expecting, and I loved it so hard. I loved it. I thought it was just like so great. I thought the way she handled all of it with the reveal and like the way that all the characters reacted, like it was so great. It was really, really great. Excellent. Loved this book. This might be the end of that series. It might just be these three interconnected. I don't know if there's another character. Oh no, it'll be Bash. Bash will be next. And it was great. I thoroughly love going back to Rose Hill. The last book I finished is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. So I've only read from Naomi Novik, the Scalaman series, which if you have not read these, put them at the top of your list. They're so amazing. If you like fantasy and like you're okay with a little bit more violence. Okay, I'll give you that for Scalamans. This one also has quite a lot of violence. She's just not like, she's a descriptive violence person, but it just never makes me like queasy or like extremely graphic. I don't know. There's just something about it that it just doesn't bother me how she writes it. Although there are parts of this that I feel like are pretty graphic because of like what the evil is in this. So this is about a girl who lives in a valley that has like a magical wood surrounding it or next to it that like eats people, damages people, makes people evil. So like the wood is the bad guy. And then there's a wizard that helps, and he like lives in this tower, and every 10 years he takes a new maiden, you know, a new girl to the tower for 10 years, and then he comes and gets another one. But he never like, there's nothing romantic about it. You don't know why, but you eventually figure out why he has to take one of the girls. He ends up taking this girl, Agnieszka, who just, everybody thinks it's going to be her best friend because it's usually like the most like beautiful or like talented in dancing or like plays an instrument, whatever thing, like a pleasing girl is what he picks. Agnieszka is like a little bit like a wreck. She's always got stains on her clothes. She's always got, but anyway, he picks her, and you figure out why. And it is a really like, it's kind of one of these, like, he's a curmudgeon, doesn't tell her enough things. She asks questions, but also is just like exhausted and confused a lot. And so it's like very funny, the beginning, like sort of how they figure out how to work together and live together in the tower. And then there's more and more problems. This is a standalone fantasy, and it is it's a pretty long book, I think. And it is, because it's like 17 hours. Not as long as like some of the Sarah J. Maas ones I've read, but there is a whole story. You get the whole universe build, you get the whole political problems, you get a lot of ups and downs where you think that you've solved something and that was not the case. And it was kind of like a very like it definitely could have been multiple books, like if she wanted to you know, expand on any of these things. But I love this like consolidated single fantasy book. Like it was just it was really good. It was really well written. I would say definitely read it if you're interested. There's not much of a romance element, but it's just so much about her growing, learning, and like I just had the best time reading it. It was so good. Okay, so let's just close out for today. That's all I have to talk about. And I don't have very many more thoughts for Flock, but the map is out. I don't know that I'm gonna like mark up who I want to see. I think my plan is still just to go visit. I will tell you 2 of the projects that are on my potential list for buying yarn for. The first one is this upcoming, it's not out yet, I don't think, checker plate tee design from Lily Kate France. I just love the checker plate so much. I'm gonna make the DK weight sweater eventually, hopefully this year or next year, probably next year maybe in like January. That I made as a sample for Witchfire Fibers. I loved it. I think like I had such a great time knitting it. This one is a lace weight version, or like lace eyelid version. That's a t-shirt in maybe fingering weight. It might be DK still. I don't know. I need some details on it. So I was hoping that it would be out. I'll look back at her post to see if she put anything else up. But I would potentially like to make that. So I might look for some yarn for that. The other one is Tori Yu's sweater that is in testing now, that is like very similar to the Clay sweater. That's a DK weight, and so I would also look through that, because the clay is a worsted weight, and I will make the clay probably. I have yarn for it, but this is a slightly different, you know, ridge pattern, and I think I would like to do that as well. Those are the two things. Those are the two that I'm thinking about in my brain. I will look at fiber. I'm gonna look at some bats. I might look at roll eggs. I might look at like Sincere Sheep is one that I think that she's going to be there this year, but like definitely like just some different fiber blends. And I'm really going to make an effort to stay on task this year. And one of the things I really want to do is I want to go to places, especially that have non-superwash yarns, and look at the samples and feel what they feel like once they've been washed, and make some decisions, or at least make some notes on things that I'd be interested in the future. So I may not like stock up on a ton of stuff right now, but I will continue to keep them in my mind. Explore Knits is like doing her releases right now. ZZ Textiles is doing her releases right now. I think Witchfire. Oh, this is actually the one thing that I think I will maybe beeline for, is that Jess from Witchfire Fiber is bringing some of her merino flock, or her like I think there'll be bats from her merino flock to flock this year. And she posts pictures of who is coming, and like I would really love some Charlie. I would love any of them. I'd be really happy with just like even a small amount, but that one is one that I think is gonna be very limited quantity, because it's just from, you know, her flock of sheep from this year. So not many pounds out there, but I would love to get some, even if it's not a lot, like just a single, you know, bat or braid or whatever of how it's going to be prepared. That would be really, I feel like really magical. And yeah, so I'm gonna just, so yeah, I don't have very many plans, but I just figured I would share with you. And yeah, I'm gonna still figure out what I'm gonna wear on Sunday. I'm really excited though. I'm getting like all the excitement, you know, not like jitters, but you're just like, I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I get to do a really fun yarn thing. And like all of our knit group said this year, like just really spend time with each other, and, you know, sit and knit a little bit more. And we have to just like be a little bit better about being on our phones, like just to meet back up, because we're not going to all walk in a pack together to buy anything. We are not that, we're not that coordinated of people. But now that we know the lay of the land for the convention center and stuff, I think we can make some better decisions. We'll probably go out to lunch, you know, just like things like that. So we can like spend some more time knitting and sitting together too. And so I'm going to be really excited to hopefully meet a bunch of you there. If you're there and you see me, please, please, please say hi. Even if I'm shopping, like literally tap me on the shoulder, say hi, Megan, and I'm not going to know your name maybe, and that's okay. And I'll turn around and I'll say hi to you. But yeah, I'm really excited to just hang out in the best community ever and see some familiar faces, meet some new people, check out and touch all the lovely things. Yeah. I'm pretty jazzed. I cannot wait. So if you have any questions or anything else about flock or you know, meeting up or anything like that, put that below. Otherwise, please let me know what you're working on this week. I'd love to, I always get such good inspiration from y'all. And if anybody wants to cast on the No Sweatshirt with me in the next week or so, let me know. I've had a couple people reach out when I'm doing a knit that I was like, oh, hey, I'm also making this, and that's always so fun. And so we can just have a little, you know, side chat on Discord or on Instagram, wherever you want to be. So just let me know. That would be great. I would love it. That'd be so fun, so that I get some motivation to like get through that relatively quickly. Yeah, I hope that you get up and move your bodies. Don't forget to stretch. And I hope that you are having a great time working on whatever fiber thing you are today. I'll talk to you later. Bye.